Coalition Liberal National Opposition Labour Crossbench Greens Cup Centre Alliance Independent. Coalition Liberal National Opposition Labour Crossbench Greens Lambie Network Patrick Team The. Parliament of Australia is the legislative branch of the Government of Australia. It consists of three elements: the Crown, the Senate and the House of Representatives. The combination of two elected chambers, in which the members of the Senate represent the states and territories while the members of the House represent electoral divisions according to population, is modelled on the United States Congress. Through both chambers, however, there is a fused executive, drawn from the Westminster system. The upper house, the Senate, consists of 76 members, 12 for each state, and 2 each for the territories. Northern Territory and the Australian Capital Territory. Senators are elected using the single transferable vote proportional representation system, and as a result, the chamber features a multitude of parties vying for power. The governing party or coalition has not held a majority in the Senate since 1981 and usually needs to negotiate with other parties and independents to get legislation passed. The lower house, the House of Representatives, currently consists of 151 members, each elected using full preference instant runoff voting from single-member constituencies known as electoral divisions. This tends to lead to the chamber being dominated by two major political groups: the centre-right coalition and the centre-left Labour Party. The government of the day must achieve the confidence of this House in order to gain and remain in power. The House of Representatives has a maximum term of 3 years, although it can be dissolved early. The Senate has fixed terms, with 36 senators' terms expiring every 3 years. As a result, House and Senate elections almost always coincide. A deadlock-breaking mechanism known as a double dissolution can be used to dissolve the full Senate, as well as the House in the event that the Senate refuses to pass a piece of legislation passed by the House. The two houses meet in separate chambers of Parliament House on Capitol Hill in Canberra, Australian Capital Territory. The Commonwealth of Australia came into being on 1 January 1901 with the Federation of the 6 Australian colonies. The inaugural election took place on 29 and 30 March and the first Australian Parliament was opened on 9 May 1901 in Melbourne by Prince George, Duke of Cornwall and York, later King George V. The only building in Melbourne that was large enough to accommodate the 14,000 guests was the Western Annex of the Royal Exhibition Building. After the official opening, from 1901 to 1927 the Parliament met in Parliament House, Melbourne, which it borrowed from the Parliament of Victoria. It had always been intended that the National Parliament would sit in a new national capital. This was a compromise at federation due to the rivalry between the two largest Australian cities, Sydney and Melbourne, which both wished to become the new capital. The site of Canberra was selected for the location of the nation's capital city in 1908. A competition was announced on 30 June 1914 to design Parliament House, with prize money of £7,000. However, due to the start of World War I the next month, the competition was cancelled. It was re-announced in August 1916, but again postponed indefinitely on 24 November 1916. In the meantime, John Smith Murdoch, the Commonwealth's chief architect, worked on the design as part of his official duties. He had little personal enthusiasm for the project, as he felt it was a waste of money and expenditure on it could not be justified at the time. Nevertheless, he designed the building by default. The construction of Old Parliament House, as it is called today, commenced on 28 August 1923 and was completed in early 1927. It was built by the Commonwealth Department of Works, using tradesmen and materials from all over Australia. The final cost was about £600,000, which was more than 3 times the original estimate. It was designed to house the Parliament for a maximum of 50 years until a permanent facility could be built, but was actually used for more than 60 years. The building was opened on 9 May 1927 by the Duke and Duchess of York. The Duke of York unlocked the front doors with a golden key. and led the official party into King's Hall, where he unveiled the statue of his father, King George V. The Duke then opened the first parliamentary session in the new Senate chamber. In 1978, the Fraser government decided to proceed with a new building on Capitol Hill, and the Parliament House Construction Authority was created. A two-stage competition was announced, for which the authority consulted the Royal Australian Institute of Architects and, together with the National Capital Development Commission, made available to competitors a brief and competition documents. The design competition drew